This is very, very disappointing to see. Everything fell apart. The government is corrupt, which we all knew that, but holy shit. Even when it comes to Legos and $200,000, which in the grand scheme of things, that ain't shit. Like, what is going on? I think it's not really about the money. I think it's more about covering up wrongdoing. And that's just constant throughout the government. It's all over the place, everywhere. It's even in my hometown. So what happened, Reckless Ben? What did they do to you? Blink twice.
Episode 3 is finally finished after crazy all-nighters and basically destroying my health. But I can't post it or I will go to jail. And
fuck.
Not only that, I will also immediately lose my lawsuit of $300,000, and the GoFundMe we made for Brian will go straight to this mystery company that I am no longer allowed to talk about. They sent court papers to my email, which I guess a judge approved for them that this was a valid form of service. And so now that I'm officially served, I cannot even mention this company.
So wait, he could have just emailed them the whole time and that would have counted? So we didn't even need that whole second video, really? It's all okay.
Or I will be in jail and everything. Normally I would be like, screw the big guy telling me what to do. I'm going to do what's morally right. But in this situation, if I do that, then all my friends get screwed with this lawsuit and we lose all the GoFundMe money we raised, like, immediately. So
I wonder what he's going to do about this.
I am no longer allowed to even mention this mystery company.
My
personal opinion is that
that's such bullshit, man.
Because this order was put on.
Like, this doesn't help their image. It's just going to make them look worse. Nobody likes companies who do this, especially when it's a YouTuber that they have discovered that they like. It's all bullshit, dude. And this ain't over. Just because Reckless Ben is out for now. Sup for bish? Sup for Bricks and Minifigs? You're in a hell of your own creation. You're fucking done, buddy.
Mention this company or I will be in jail and everything. Normally I would be like, screw the big guy telling me what to do. I'm going to do what's morally right. But in this situation,
I pressed the wrong button and went back.
If I do that, then all my friends get screwed with this lawsuit and we lose all the GoFundMe money we raised.
That wouldn't be good.
Immediately.
Dude, that's such bullshit that they would just lose that money. Where would it go to? Bricks and Minifigs? What the fuck? No wonder they're trying to get this guy to shut the fuck up. They want that money.
So I am no longer allowed to even mention this mystery company. My personal opinion is that this is unfair because this order was put on me because this company was telling the court that I was making bomb threats. I was planning on murdering the manager and employees.
Well, that just means you gotta countersue them. You gotta, or sue them. I don't know if who was doing it first.
Which, obviously I didn't do, and you can see that in the footage. The only problem is I was not given a chance to share my side. The court just heard their perspective, not mine. So because I wasn't able to share my side.
Yeah, that's before everything goes to court and stuff, right? You can't talk about it.
I am now no longer allowed to talk about them. And
we're gonna watch somebody get into this because I'm not really understanding what's going on here.
Looks like this might be it. So, yeah.
So I've got Legal Mindset here talking about this whole Reckless Ben situation, going over the video that we just looked at.
A $200,000 Lego
Bricks and Minifigs has struck back as they've gone after Ben in a big way. We're to that today on The Legal Mind, so we teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney, and we're going to jump right into this case, which is developing fast, even with the development happening just as I was about to record this video. So this is the latest and greatest. We're going day by day, giving
day by day.
you updates here as this case has been absolutely wild. First of all, he has an official case, right? The case is in court. It's in front of Judge Graff. You see there, Judge Tony F. Graff. Now, by all accounts, he's generally a very fair judge. He's presiding over the Robinson trial right now. Of course, he's not without flaws. Looking at his record, there's some cases where he seems to have made some decisions I wouldn't have made. But that's the thing about the law. You oftentimes, as a lawyer, you can disagree with a judge, sometimes even strongly disagree with a judge. But overall, you look at his track record for fairness and you say, is this a judge that is grossly biased in one way or has grossly bad outcomes?
They all are.
Tony Graff, by all
Honestly,
examination,
every single one of them is biased toward the government and businesses.
doesn't look like that.
Against you,
but once
regular
again,
people.
let's judge things as they go and let's see how this turns out, because we've got a temporary restraining order here that was entered into ex parte. Ex parte meaning without one of the parties there. Ben Schneider was not able to give his side of the story, his picture, before this restraining order was granted. Now, under the Utah rules of civil procedure, typically these things have a limit of 14 days, these ex parte orders, till they're ruled upon. This one, we're looking at that one coming in on the 5th, with his hearing being on the 22nd. Now, what will happen in that hearing is we'll decide whether or not to make that preliminary injunction last even longer. And we're going to be getting into that with more detail. The other thing I want to point out here is they did deliver to the Schneiders by alternative service. So one of the things that they might have thought by, going abroad or by moving around or not being in Utah is that they would avoid service, meaning avoid being given the papers. Well, the judge said, you know what, we are going to allow service by email as sufficient for the purpose of this order. So
why didn't they allow Reckless Ben to do that? Why is that not a thing for Reckless Ben? A corporation wanted it done, so the court was just like, okay, is that how that fucking works?
They allowed that alternative service there through that process. Now, we're going to get into what Ben thinks about that in just one second.
That's bullshit.
But first, I have this important message.
Recently, a jury ordered Meta and YouTube to pay millions for their role in designing
I don't give a shit.
addictive platforms.
Okay, so let's hear what Ben has to say in this case after all of this went down with the restraining order, with the injunctive order.
Episode 3 is finally finished after crazy all-nighters and basically destroying my health. But I can't post it or I will go to jail. Not only that, I will also immediately lose my lawsuit of $300,000, and the GoFundMe we made for Brian will go straight to this mystery company that I am no longer allowed to talk about.
That's crazy that that would be how that works.
So this is something that I think I want to say I told you so. And Ben seems a little bit surprised about this, but this is something that if he was talking to a lawyer, actually talking to a lawyer, not just taking their emails, but really engaged a serious attorney who's experienced on this, not just trying to farm this for, engagement or whatever else. And this is where I'm giving Ben a little bit of pushback, because I know he's afraid of getting in there with attorneys, of actually engaging them, of actually hiring a real attorney that knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, he should have done that a long time ago. A lot of this mess could have been avoided, and maybe even some things that the court did for the corporation, they would have done for him. I do agree. I've been saying this the whole time. Like, where the fuck is the legal team?
But this is a stern talking to coming from a position where I generally support.
Like, dude was able to go to Mexico, but he couldn't get a legal team. Kind of retarded, if you ask me. I'm still on Reckless Ben's side over this disgusting corporation, though.
What Ben has been doing overall for the Mansells, saying that he needs to get serious because he seems surprised by this. If he was speaking to an attorney, he probably wouldn't be as surprised here, right? And I think this is something where he really needs to lock in, because what he's got coming up on the 22nd is a serious hearing. He needs to present his side of the story. The first side was ex parte. It was without his side of the story, but he needs an attorney who's experienced, maybe who has been before Judge Graff before, who's got a good case record. That is going to be very important for him to have in order to go and to win that order. He needs to win.
They sent court papers to my email, which I guess a judge approved for them that this was a valid form of service. And so now that I'm officially served, I cannot even mention this company or I will be in jail and everything. Normally I would be like, screw the big guy telling me what to do. I'm going to do what's morally right. But
And this is where I think, I see where his heart is. I see where he's coming from. I get him. I get Ben, right? He's trying to do the right thing, and he's probably a person that doesn't listen well to others when they tell him, hey, you shouldn't do that, or hey, you can't do that. But there's a point at which you actually have to stop and listen, right? And maybe in the past, he's been served on YouTube by pushing the limit, by pushing content a little bit further. I get that. I cover a lot of streamers that push the limit, but they end up in jail, right? I mean, look at Johnny Somali, right? You don't want to keep going and going and going past when other people tell you to stop. I think.
Yeah, but there is a huge difference between people like that and people like Reckless Ben. They fuck with normal, everyday people on the streets. Reckless Ben is fucking with, like, corporations and cults and shit.
There are people out there giving Ben good advice. He's had a lot of people messaging him, a lot of people reaching out. And I know it's difficult, but he's actually got to listen in this.
In this situation, if I do that, then all my friends get screwed with this lawsuit.
He makes good content, but he's a fucking retard for not having an attorney this whole time.
And we lose all the GoFundMe money we raised, like, immediately. So I am no longer allowed to even mention this mystery company. My personal opinion is that this is unfair because this order was put on me because this company was telling the court that I was making bomb threats. I was planning on murdering the...
Well, yeah, they're gonna believe the company over you. Like, if Reckless Ben went and said that the company was doing all that, would they believe him?
The manager and employees, which obviously I didn't do, and you can see that in the footage.
And obviously that's the side of the story in the legal complaint from Bricks and Minifigs. So Bricks and Minifigs.
Yeah, he has no idea how it works. I don't know how it works, and Reckless Ben probably knows slightly more, which is not good. Like, bro needs to have an attorney. Does he still not have one yet?
Is definitely playing things up, is definitely pushing things and pushing a narrative that is more than what is the facts here. So he does have a right here to defend himself, to speak, essentially. And what I believe, and I would make the argument in favor of Ben, right? So here is my argument, my pro-Ben argument, that they are stifling his First Amendment rights, his freedom of speech, that this injunctive order that says he can't talk about them at all, that he can't make YouTube content, he's completely silenced, is ridiculous. Think about putting that on the news. Think about putting that on any other person that's creating something that is in opposition to somebody. You can't say anything bad about them. That's stifling your freedom of speech, right? That's not permissible. Now, of course, there's things like defamation, which is accusing other people of crimes that are not permissible, but that's a whole different story. If the court wanted to limit the scope and said, hey, you cannot say these specific defamatory things, that's a lot different than saying you can't mention their name at all. That is, in my opinion, too broad. That's the argument I would make on his behalf, or I think his lawyer should make on his behalf, is that this is indeed overly broad and is stifling of his First Amendment.
Judging by how everything's going right now, judging by everything that's boiled up to this point, I think Reckless Ben's gonna fuck this up, honestly. I think he's gonna fuck the whole thing up. I think he's already fucked the whole thing up by not doing things the way you're supposed to. He wanted to do it for the content. And he should have just got a fucking attorney. The part where he goes to Mexico pisses me off. It really does. As somebody who will probably never leave this country for any reason ever, even if I wanted to, it just pisses me off.
Right. So I think that is a very strong argument. I think his feelings here are indeed valid.
The only problem is I was not given a chance to share my side. The court just heard their perspective, not mine. So because I wasn't able to share my side, I am now no longer allowed to talk about them. And it looks like this might be it.
So,
yeah, you should have shared your side, bro. Oh, well, I didn't know about it. You would if you had an attorney, you fucking moron.
So I think that ending there is a little bit hamming it up. I mean, this is not, he's not going to.
And that's another thing, dude, hamming it up, trying to form a narrative. I fucking hate that shit. I'm completely out on all this now. Like, I want Bricks and Minifigs to fall, but now I don't want Reckless Ben to be involved in it because he just completely fucked the whole thing. Sure, he brought light to the situation, but he made it worse. Much worse than it had to be.
To the gulag. He's not going to Siberia, right? He's going to a hearing on the 22nd. Okay, so he's not going to jail, right, guy people? He's not going to be hauled off in irons. He's going to a hearing on a protective order that is on the 22nd of June, right? So that is what's going to actually happen then. Now, it's very important that he wins that. I think he needs to fight that as hard as he can, but that's what's coming up. And in a way, Bricks and Minifigs,
if he's gonna keep being dishonest like that, I hope he fucking loses.
does strike.
I don't know. Is that too harsh? I'm just tired of all the fucking fakeness.
Back, get that victory, that little
It's hard to know what's going on when you're being so fake all the time.
Hoth strike back there. They get that with this victory with the protective order. So let's move on. There's a little bit more to talk about here. So we also had a lot of drama regarding the GoFundMe. So at first, GoFundMe actually folded. They actually ended up
I saw that.
caving in and
Yeah, they took it down and put it right back up.
giving up and saying, we're taking this down. Now, for those that have not been around the internet for a while and followed legal defense funds like we have, covering many, many controversial cases, as I have on my channel for a very, very long time. And by the way, if you like the channel, be sure to like and subscribe. But in this case, GoFundMe is doing something they've done time and time again with others on the internet, that is with Sargon, that is with plenty of other controversial people and controversial cases. Anytime it requires them to have a spine, a GoFundMe will essentially fold when it comes to legal defense. The thing is, their terms of service say that they're really only taking down, they're supposed to only take down things for serious crimes. We're talking felonies here. So, you know, if something is a felony level crime, we're going to go take this down. Well, in this case, there's nothing but misdemeanors. So there was no reason under their own terms of service, if you read their own terms of service, for them to actually go.
Well, if you look at other corporations, terms of service kind of is just guidelines. It don't actually mean shit. I mean, look at Twitch, right?
And take this down. This is something they should not have taken down in the first place. And this actually probably was pushed back by people like you guys at home who are liking these videos, following, commenting, replying on YouTube, Instagram. All of that helps. Social media is definitely helping on this one, because as soon as there was a other legal defense fund formed here by actual justice warrior Sean Fitzgerald, who started one on competitor Give Send Go, who went out on Give Send Go and actually started a competitor. I think what happened is the internal PR people, and we'll talk about what happened there at Bricks and Minifigs with some of their internal stuff in a second. But the people at GoFundMe panicked, seeing Give Send Go, a competitor, up. And what they ended up doing was saying, hey, no, we've got to put this back. So actually, I pulled this up just as I was about to record this at 8:22. That's Asia time. So flip it for America. It's 8:22 a.m. over there in the U.S. They
At least dude's gonna get the money back. From what I can tell, as long as Reckless Ben doesn't fuck this up more, that Brian's getting his money.
flipped that back and
More,
they put it
more
up
money.
again. So they permitted once again the GoFundMe, which is at 456K out of 500K. Now, I still think there's a use in an alternative legal defense fund. Actual Justice Warrior Sean Fitzgerald reached out to me trying to get in contact with Ben. So Ben, if you're out there watching, please get in contact with him on what to do with that legal defense fund. You need to actually be talking to people that are trying to help you and trying to coordinate these things. So, hey, Ben, go reach out to him. But these things, these campaigns on social media are clearly working. They're influencing companies. Patreon CEO made a statement.
My name is Jack Conti, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Patreon. So after an extensive review and investigation, we have in fact, unfortunately determined that Bricks and Minifigs can stuff it. We're keeping Ben's page up. And if Bricks and Minifigs doesn't like that, they can sue us.
So by these folks actually getting online, being active, pushing these things, retweeting this is working. And you guys at home should know, do not give up. Despite the fact that Ben cannot speak, that doesn't mean that...
Yeah, I ain't giving up. I'm going to cover this situation until it completely falls apart, whether Ben is involved or not.
All of you out there cannot speak as well. It doesn't mean that other channels like myself and like others, people reacting to my channels, my content, are not going to be pushing back against this, as they absolutely 100% should. Okay, Another fun fact we found out here was Bricks and Minifigs lead. Now, this is a fun one, and a hat tip to the humble fruit farmers out there that found this one. But this is from the marketing director of Bricks and Minifigs, and you can find down here, in 2026, I was appointed incident commander during a national reputational crisis, coordinating executive leadership, legal counsel, franchise relations, public relations, customer communications, and digital reputation management efforts across the organization. So clearly we have here someone that has been put on the Bricks and Minifigs, the Reckless Ben case. So we see who that is. It's lovely here, Caitlin Fagan, MBA. Now, I love her title here. Marketing Director, Deputational Head, Brand Content.
What's with the gay colors, huh? Buy lighting alert! I'm just kidding.
SEO expert, small business owner, chronic overachiever. She went to Brigham Young, like many people, Marriott School of Business, Bricks and Minifigs official. So you see, that's her LinkedIn profile right there. Now, I want to say, as corporate counsel, as the heartless lawyer who was brought in to say the heartless things that other people cannot say, right? As a many-year corporate attorney, bless her heart, but this is not the person that you want to be doing this exclusively here. It looks like her experience, looking at what she's doing, she's making contests for Lego McClocks, right? Just giveaways, doing marketing stuff. Her background appears to be in just general marketing, not in something that's high-level crisis management. You're going to want a big company like 5PWR.
He's going to fuck it up. Dude, he is so stupid he's going to fuck it up. He makes good content, but he's stupid.
Or the PH Group out of the UK. They're better for the UK. 5PWR is better for the US. So those are high-end PR companies, essentially, that large corporations can bring in crises. So you're going to want to bring in somebody external. Now, I have not heard any statement that from any external PR firm, saying they're working with them, or know otherwise that they're working with an external PR firm. They could be, that I don't know of, or we don't know of. But you certainly don't want to put everything on poor Caitlin here. That's not fair to her, and she's probably not qualified to be handling this alone by herself without some external support. So
it's a lot of money, though, so she's probably going to take it anyway. Look, she needs the money. She's got these Lego mock clock contests going on. Whoa, buddy! This is all going to fall apart. This is fucked.
That's something that I just wanted to put out there. Hopefully they're paying for that. And what I'm getting to here is the price that they are going to be paying for this, not just in the overtime for poor Caitlin here, but in the external firm. It's going to be in the numbers far above hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? This is going to cost them a lot of money, right?
This is about to make her rich.
And this is something that they've got to do, because now the algorithm is taken over with this. And, even if you've got one really hard worker on your team, she's not going to be able to carpet bomb the PR on this and kind of make this thing spin around. That's not something that one individual inside, even if she's a really hard worker, is going to be able to do by herself, right? So let's go to my judgment here. So in my judgment, Ben needs to stay calm, listen to counsel, and obey the judge for now. So I am not at all encouraging him to violate the, and I would never do that, to say, just, okay, screw the judge, do whatever you want, just ride off in the sunset. We're not doing that. We're not going to crazy town on that one. Okay. Obey the judge for now, listen to the order, do what it says.
But could you imagine, though? Could you imagine if he just blew this whole thing out of the water by just not listening to the judge, and it just makes the case even bigger? That'd be absolute cinema, but he wouldn't do that.
And prepare for the hearing. Come with your best case to that hearing. Be prepared. Hire a competent attorney. There's lots of very good, very passionate attorneys out there. Look for their history in that court, maybe their history with Judge Graff, their track record, not just what they're saying, not just because they're your bro, but actually because they've got the skills to do this. Also, with social media pressure, that is going to be key to fighting back against Bricks and Minifigs, as well as unjust corporate actions. Corporations are still very susceptible to the public opinion, to PR, to things that are trending on X, YouTube, Instagram, etc. So continuing to stay on this, continuing to expose this, continuing to share these videos, again, get this information out there is key.
Yeah, you hear that? Share this video with all your friends and all your family. They probably will hate me.
I know not everybody watches YouTube, so by the way, anybody who wants to clip my content, take it out there, put it on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, on Bricks and Minifigs, I bless you to do that. You are free to do that and get the word out there so that more people know about this. The upcoming hearing is on June 22nd, where Ben gets to present his side. So we'll very much be looking forward to that. And I'm going to be looking to get more information on that hearing so that I can provide that
I'll be
to
here.
you guys in the best way possible. I want to know what you guys think, though, in the comments below. And
Damn, was that 20 minutes already? That was a short video. Yeah, well, 18 minutes. So Coffeezilla made a video. I found the $200,000 missing Lego, which I don't know if you know this, that's actually correct. Lego without the S, plural, is correct. It's not Legos, it's Lego. It's fucking stupid, I know, but whatever, man.
I will catch you.
A $200,000 Lego collection went missing, causing a lot of you to ask me to find it. And after seeing the cops point guns at YouTubers, people get arrested,
I remember that.
sued for $1.3 million, I decided enough was enough. This looks like a case for the internet detective, this time in the $10 million Lego studio. So I talked to every suspect involved, and what I found shocked me.
I forgot how cool Coffeezilla's intro is. Case of the missing Legos. Hey, that's not right.
Before we can find these missing Legos,
There's
let's
no
give
S.
some
Stop
background.
it.
A massive Star Wars
Stop
collection
it.
was put on consignment
Disavow.
at a Lego store called Bricks and Minifigs in Salem, Oregon. Consignment just means the owner, Brian Mansell, gave it to a store to sell, and he was supposed to get a cut when it sold. The entire time, he maintained ownership of the collection, and a social media post estimated it to be worth about $200,000.
He just said cut. I just realized something. That $100,000 that Bricks and Minifigs was talking about, I think was supposed to be Brian's cut. I didn't think about that. I thought the whole thing was worth $100,000. No, whole thing is worth $200,000, and Brian was getting a cut of $100,000 or whatever it was. So everything, dude, at least that's what I'm gathering. That's what my brain is putting on my mind. Brain and mind's different, right? I don't fucking know. I'm retarded.
But then on November 14th, 2024, everything went wrong. This was the night that Crystal and Ben Gorman, the prior franchise owners of the Salem store, got kicked out by this guy. That is Brandon Best. He and his partner Josh Johnson ran a sister store in Eugene, Oregon. And Brandon drove up that night to kick the Gormans out. Brandon and Josh would...
I know people like both of these guys. I used to work for them. Small town vape shops, selling drugs under the table. I think if you watch my previous Lego video, I talked about it.
be taking over the franchise in Salem.
I think it was the first one I talked about it.
This is the exact moment the Legos go missing. As that store is getting handed over, the question is Brian's collection in it? Here's what the official Bricks and Minifigs press release reads. Quote, after taking over the store, we discovered a small number of sets valued between $2,000 to $5,000 that could be possibly related to Mr. Mansell's collection. But there's a problem here. There should be over 10 times that amount in this store, given their internal records and what we know the estimated value of this collection was. So if corporate's saying there was only $2,000 to $5,000 in the store, something happened to these Legos. But what? In order to solve this case, let's think about the suspects. First, who was there that night of the handover? It's only 3 people. Crystal and Ben Gorman, the former franchise owners, and Brandon Best, one of the new owners. These are our 3 biggest suspects, but they aren't the only ones.
The Lego wall with everybody's names is kind of crazy. I love it.
I want to address a few other suspects at the very start here. First of all, maybe this is just all the result of, plain old thieves breaking in. What about that possibility?
Hi, I am Chris. I was the previous franchise owner who signed the collection agreement with Brian Mansell.
And I'm Benjamin Gorman. I am the silent partner who's really bad at being silent.
We did have a couple of break-ins at the store. None of Brian's collections were in the police report or stolen during those.
Okay, so the Gormans say emphatically it wasn't thieves, but if that's the case, what about the guy who was arrested? I mentioned at the beginning of this video, Reckless Ben. This is the YouTuber who started it all. With a documentary, I tracked down the thief who
Hey, I know that guy.
stole $200,000 of Lego. Maybe it's the perfect crime. Make a video tracking yourself. Now, for our theory, it's worth noting Ben is currently facing a RICO lawsuit by Bricks and Minifigs. He was even targeted with a search warrant for stolen Legos.
Included in the warrant are
That's insane.
Reported overhearing conversations about possible stolen Legos.
And on top of that, Reckless Ben was even
Why did they think that Reckless Ben stole Legos? Why did they think that? I haven't figured that one out yet.
accused of stealing the Legos by the current franchise owner.
I stole the Legos?
What do you think of the theory that it was Reckless Ben? He stole the Legos.
It's absurd. We didn't even know Reckless Ben. He
Yeah.
had no interaction, no relation to us, no relation to the store. That doesn't hold any water.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Apologies to the genius cops in Utah who play different.
We play differently here.
But I don't believe that Reckless Ben stole the Lego, mostly because he couldn't. He just wasn't there that night, and I don't even think he knew about these Legos. But who does Ben suspect is holding the Legos since he did this whole documentary series?
The guy who runs the entire company,
This guy's too retarded.
McNeff, he personally
I think he's just running a cover-up.
came out to talk to us.
So what's going on?
So you guys are holding some of our Legos?
No, we're not.
You're not?
No.
Is that a lie?
No.
That's a lie. You did take the Legos.
No. So we have, our attorneys have visited, but like, again, so who's
Brian Mansell.
Okay, and who is that?
You know exactly who the fuck that is, you dirty little piece of shit!
He's a guy who had he had like $200,000 worth of Legos in your guys' store.
Never happened.
My name is Ammon McNeff. I am the CEO of the Bricks and Minifigs brand.
So my name's Matt McNeff. I'm the COO of Bricks and Minifigs.
The people you just saw are the McNeff brothers. They agreed to speak with
I've never seen a McNeff brother. I didn't know dude had a brother involved in
me
this.
to try to clear their name. I asked them, do they have the Legos?
What I can tell you is that we don't have it. We've never had access to them.
It seems to kind of go missing. Parts of it seem to go missing on November 14th.
Well, and I guess no, not at all. I'm gonna say, like that is.
You don't know what's going on, but you're gonna say no anyway. Corporations
is not accurate at all because.
So you think that the collection was in the store at the time or elsewhere?
Elsewhere. When you look at Mansell's own words that he reiterated to a podcast last year, he explicitly stated to another podcaster, the sets were moved off-site for security.
The collection will not be stored on site after hours for security
I've never
reasons,
heard
and
that
after
before.
Sunday, the sets will be available for purchase but stored elsewhere.
Now, one thing that's been a big subject of the Bricks and Minifigs kind of story is, hey, there are these off-site locations. Can you address what that is? Is that true?
So the off-site location in the letter that that corporate is referring to is the original press release that we released when we were launching the collection. In that press release, because we had previous break-ins, I specifically included the location that after this weekend, those Legos would be stored off-site to deter any future thefts. They were briefly stored off-site after that launch weekend while I bought safes for the back room, and then they were moved back into the store.
Okay, so for most of the time, the sets were in the store after y'all got the safes in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ammon McNeff suspects that a lot of the Legos weren't there that night. And then on the other hand, we just heard from Crystal and Ben Gorman explaining the off-site story, saying that later they no longer used those off-site locations. But what do we really know about the Gormans? They are the former franchise owners after all. I mean, shouldn't we be suspicious of everyone? They're one of our key suspects. They were there the night we lost Brian's collection. They were the creators of the consignment deal after all. And one group in particular is pointing their finger at them very hard. It's the McNeffs who say they were behind on payments.
We started getting calls from the landlord letting us know
shifting
that
blame,
Crystal was behind on the lease payments at the location. We had also gotten a couple of notices from some of our vendor partners that bills had not been paid by the store, and so we felt pretty strongly that there was going to be a risk of her just, you know, like attempting to file bankruptcy, doing some of these other types of things which we've had franchisees do in the past, and that's problematic. So that's why we sent him up there to take some video footage. So we needed to just be prepared if we needed to do a hostile takeover, which, you know, like can happen in franchising, where a franchise owner just, you know, kind of tries to steal inventory and do some different things that way.
Okay, so Bricks and Minifigs' story is that they were worried about the Gormans skipping town, so they sent Brandon Best as a secret shopper on October 24th, 2020.
Wait a minute. Is that why they fucking left the country? They stole the Legos?
This is weeks before
or had something
the
to do with it?
Brandon takes
That'd
a
be
video
crazy.
of the store condition in preparation
And
for this.
if that's the case, what the fuck? Why didn't you say anything until now? Because it's bullshit. It's not true.
Handover. But at this point, Brandon does not announce himself to Crystal Gorman. Later, though, on November 14th, once again, the same concern about the Gorman stealing or theft was expressed by the McNeffs.
Brandon was trying to make sure that they weren't taking things from the store, and so he was kind of trying to make sure that he wasn't putting things, you know, like hiding things in the back, and that he, like, and while he was watching that, trying to make sure Ben wasn't grabbing stuff from the store and moving it or doing anything along those lines, because he just got a weird feeling about the whole transition.
She took at least one, if not more than one, cartfuls of things out to her car with her coat draped over it.
So yeah, the McNeffs say, look, they don't trust the Gormans,
Look,
and
a
they explained it,
cartful.
you know, even further. They said, hey,
Cartful? That was all of the Legos. Probably she took them all in a cart. Yeah, okay. Give me a fucking break, dude.
Some issues in her past.
She apparently has a retail theft and other criminal like arrests on her record.
Who doesn't?
That we were not aware of.
When was that?
I don't know.
Who cares?
This has been
You don't
brought
know. He's making shit up.
By several people online now.
Now look, that's a huge accusation to bring up, and so obviously I wanted to talk to the Gormans about it.
They're like, she has a history of some type of burglary, theft.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, that's what they're
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is it even true?
Well, yes.
Well,
You
explain.
know about this.
Explain.
Yeah, when I was 19 years old.
saying. How long ago is that?
I am 45 now.
Oh, man. I was gonna say, she don't look like she's anywhere near 19. Let me guess, it was like a pair of sunglasses or something.
So this was in 1999. This, something that happened 25 years ago, has no reflection and no bearing on what happened in the last 2 years, my management of the store, what happened the night corporate seized the store. It is a...
Yeah, just bringing up something like that is just complete bullshit and a complete deflection.
Another deflection. And it infuriates me. You're gonna try to publicly embarrass and shame me for somebody that was manipulated by local police departments when she was pregnant and 19 years old? Fuck you. That's my response to that.
That's the whole internet's
sorry.
response.
You're gonna have to blur and cut a lot of this, but that pisses me off. I own what I have done. I own the mistakes that I have made. You cannot intimidate and bully me into backing down when I know that legally and morally I am in the right and I have the evidence to back it up.
Wow, this is getting kind of nasty and personal at this point, and I just wanted to give people kind of their side. But at every turn, I hope you understand, I'm getting contradictory stories, down to if the McNeffs knew about her history in the first place.
Like, they're bringing up something that I told them about.
Wait, you told them?
Told them.
So they don't even know if it's true. You said it. You could have been bullshit.
They asked me.
They said they had no idea. They said if we knew, we would have never hired her.
Because we would not have hired her had we known this.
I told them I had a...
He's just a fucking liar. He lies about literally everything.
record from when I was 18.
Mormon,
it was a family
okay.
issue that, and didn't go into all of the details, but they were like, that's so long ago, we're gonna hire you based on who you are now.
Okay, I'm just gonna leave it there. You guys can make up your own mind. My point is, one side says up, the other says down, And it gets to the point both sides start hinting that they have photographic proof from the night of November 14th that proves the other side is lying. And so I'm like, look, at this point, let's stop talking. Show me the Legos.
Where I was told we are 100% have possession of photos that prove that the Gormans are lying. And then you guys are telling me we 100% have possession of photos that prove this side's lying. Who's gonna drop the photos first? I mean, I feel like someone just has to, somebody's right here.
And after a lot of convincing, both...
Yeah, and it seems like it's really the fucking Ammon guy. He keeps lying about everything, and that Josh guy, they're all pieces of shit, so I'm gonna believe these people who had to move out of the country because you fucking... The Mormon cult is after them! And they have ties to the police department, it's fucking crazy!
Sides agreed to show me the photos, corporate and the Gormans. In fact, I scheduled the calls to do this an hour apart from each other. But let's remember their positions for a second. The Gormans say whatever was left unsold of Brian's collection that was in that store spreadsheet was in Salem store the night of November 14th. Then you have corporate side. They say whatever was left that night was maybe $2,000 to $5,000 of Legos. The rest was either stolen by thieves, the Gormans, or held off site. It was not in that store. And on both sides, there's a lot to lose here, right? You've got the Gormans, who basically have been insinuated to have been stealing. And for Josh and Brandon too, the new franchise owners, there's a lot on the line. I reached out to Josh and he told me, I think her pictures would only show a few sets and minifigs. I replied, so if I can prove that the Lego sets were in the store, that will prove Brandon was lying. Josh replies, if it shows something different, then yes, I will eat my words. So the stakes have been established. Let's see the evidence, starting with Matt McNeff. First, he showed...
My prediction is that find out that he has to eat his words, and then he's like, oh, wait, I forgot about this other thing.
Me the video, October 24th, 2024, for a baseline of how the store looked.
So this is the Salem Kaiser location, is that correct?
Salem Kaiser location, yes.
So is it fair to say I'm seeing quite a few Legos here? I mean, I'm seeing a store of Legos. You'd agree?
There's a good amount of Lego on hand. This isn't what I would say is a well-stocked Bricks and Minifigs, but it's not terrible. It's I would say a little below average as far as overall stock. So now let's go to November 14th. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Who is this guy? This is dude's brother, right? That Ammon guy's brother. I kind of like his attitude. I hope he sticks with his attitude. I hope he's actually trying to help. I'm thinking that he has nothing to do with any of this shit, and he's just wanting to get out of it.
Okay, so November 14th, when Brandon was in there helping.
Wait, this is the day. This is like the big day.
This is the day.
Hold on, I gotta prep myself emotionally for this.
Okay.
This is a big deal. This is D-Day. This is the big moment. This is Brandon takes over the store. We don't know where the Legos are after this moment.
We don't know where the Legos are after this moment.
That's funny. It's real funny how Brandon takes over the store and all of a sudden we don't know where the fucking Legos are.
And I want to point out again that we've had this for a while. We haven't this is the first time we've shown this publicly. We've been waiting for our attorneys to give us the approval to say, hey, this is okay now to share in this capacity. So we'll go through these pictures. This is what Josh saw, or not Josh, sorry, Brandon saw. He took pictures of everything in the store, all the inventory in the store. This is what the shelves looked like compared to what you just saw a moment ago.
Okay, so I'm seeing a lot less. Just to state the obvious, go back a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm seeing like way less.
So yeah, the pictures I was being shown on November 14th, those shelves looked emptier than they did on the day of October 24th. But to be fair to the Gormans, they addressed the empty shelves themselves.
As we get to the very end of this video in particular, right here, you'll see that empty space right here. So this is the retired and certified set section that we have to keep separate from the new in box current sets being sold by Lego.
Is that the picture right there to the right? Is that where the picture was taken?
Those empty spaces up there were the sets that we had on display during the day from Brian's collection that every night when the store closed, we pulled off and put back into the safe and then put back out in the morning.
So when they say, see, there's empty space on the shelves, yeah, because we put them in safes at night to keep them safe.
Because we have giant windows.
Yeah, it's an explanation that kind of makes sense given the history of burglary. Now, of course, this is something I had to ask the McNeffs about.
Is this a case of, did y'all see Star Wars sets in the back? Did y'all not see the Star Wars sets in the back? Did he take, not in the back, but specifically in a safe? Like there were a bunch of Star Wars sets in a safe. Did Brandon see those? Has there been talk of those? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. My understanding is that he took pictures of everything, and all those photos I showed you.
I don't trust him. I really don't. When did he take the pictures? I don't know when he took the pictures. Like, what was he doing before the pictures were taken? Is that on camera? Do you got cameras in the back?
Star Wars were all the photos, or was literally all the Star Wars inventory in the store.
Yeah, the McNeffs say all of the photos should be with Brandon of all the Star Wars items. And to be fair to them, they showed me a lot more pictures and even showed me a spreadsheet of all the Star Wars sets in the store the night Brandon took it over. And it valued to about like $5,000 to $10,000 or so. But then I had to ask.
Sorry, here's another kind of set.
Okay.
Do you think y'all have all of these?
Very likely.
Okay.
Again, I'd be surprised if we didn't.
But then I couldn't help myself. I started to bring up some of Crystal's photos to see if they matched up.
Have you seen this before?
Not that I recall.
So, do you see that?
Yep.
That gave me
do
chills.
you see it's in like some kind of like a safe thing? I don't know if you can see the sides there.
Looks like a bookshelf to me, but sure.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So I think the important thing is making sure that all of these are in the inventory for Mansell.
Sure. Sure. That's cool.
75041.
Yep. The Vulture Droid.
75169.
169 I'm not seeing, so there may be... Okay, so there's one that is not on our list.
So one that's not on the list. So how many's not on the list? So how many's not on the list, dude? Oh, fuck! Somebody here is lying! Whoa! Buddy! This is all fucking sideways!
Let's try this. 10240?
Okay, nope, not seeing that one either.
So they weren't even put into the system. So that fucking $2,000 to $10,000 is complete bullshit. They lost them. They don't have them in the system. They never were in the system.
What about 9493?
I don't see that one either. So maybe those were locked at the time, and Brandon did not get those pictures.
All right, that's kind of a problem because the Gormans had over 200 photos of this store. I definitely knew looking at these photos, there's a lot more Legos in the Gormans photos by quite a lot that Brandon's photos just didn't show. But corporate didn't really see it that way.
But still, in the grand scheme of things, we're not talking, again, 10 times the amount of sets here.
I don't know. I haven't shown
bullshit.
all the
I don't give a
photos
fuck
yet.
now. You have just shown me that you didn't put all the Legos in the system. So I don't believe you. I already didn't believe you, but I double don't believe you now.
Know exactly how much.
If there's a calculable figure that we can look at and say, great, this is what was there, I promise you, it's not $100,000 worth of Legos.
Uh-huh.
And so
Too
where's the rest of
bad
it?
you didn't put them in the system. It could be $1 million now. You fucked up. You lost them.
He got me. I don't know.
Maybe I'm a little too in my head about this U-Haul story. You don't think it could have been some U-Haul thing? There's no way.
Oh, yeah, have we talked about the U-Haul yet? We gotta talk about the...
What? I don't know nothing about a U-Haul. Oh man, Coffeezilla, you're so much better than Reckless Ben. Holy fuck. I mean, I'm glad Reckless Ben made his videos. I'm also glad that we're getting other people looking into it. Because Reckless Ben's kind of a fucking retard. He's reckless!
U-Haul for a second. This is another one of those things that was like really disputed between the two parties, was this U-Haul that supposedly was driven up to the store the night of the takeover.
So when Brandon came to the store that night, he was driving a U-Haul truck.
Now, in typical fashion, this was immediately disputed.
I never heard nothing about this.
Brandon showed up to the Salem store in a rental car. when he came to get the keys from Crystal. He was there in a rental car, not in a U-Haul.
It wasn't until after he told me he was taking the keys and locking me out that I really kind of paid attention to the fact that he had a large, not the small, the large U-Haul truck.
So yeah, I just kept hearing about this U-Haul truck. Now, why is it significant, U-Haul or not? Well, one, a U-Haul truck can fit a lot of Legos, but the big reason it mattered to me was because I was actually called by an ex-employee of the Bricks and Minifigs store in Eugene, Oregon. Remember, that's the one that Brandon and Josh owned. And he
oh man, there's an interview that I got to get in with what was it? It was an ex, like, COO or something. Somebody who was deeply involved in the company. Camelot 331 interviewed him. I'm going to have to check that out probably a couple videos after this.
Told me something very interesting.
I'm a former employee, started in 2024, and I was working under the old manager Brian, and we sold the store to Brandon, Best, and Josh.
What store was this? Bricks and Minifigs where? Okay, now what did you see that made you want to talk to me?
I saw Reckless Ben's YouTube video about the Salem store closing down because when I was talking to my co-workers about the situation about Salem, and we were told through other employees that it was just a bad area to work in. It was like haunted, if you will, is what was going around. But after seeing the video of Reckless Ben, he exposed them, and it makes a lot more sense with what we dealt with Brandon and Josh. Like, Crystal stole Lego sets and bolted out of the country.
Who says that?
Brandon Best told us. When he was jumping off all the Lego sets to us that night. He used a bunch of sets that sounded like Saran Wrap. They had Star Wars City. There's just a lot of stuff. It was like in a medium-sized U-Haul truck.
Wait, they brought a U-Haul truck.
Yeah, from Salem, going to Eugene.
And to Eugene, and it had a bunch of Star Wars sets on it?
Yeah, Star Wars sets, like everything. A bunch of used stuff, too.
Wait, when, and...
Nobody talked about this. This is the first I'm hearing of this. What the fuck? I think they straight up stole these fucking Legos. At least that's what I'm gathering from this. I'm not gonna jump to any conclusions yet, but that's what it sounded like.
And was this when they took over the store from Crystal?
I believe so, yes. Yes, because he said that Crystal stole Legos and left the country.
While he has a U-Haul of Legos?
Yeah.
Interesting. Weird.
So then he said, we're just going to hold on to this stuff until corporate tells us where we have to distribute it. And we're like, oh, well, it'd make more sense if we could take it because we're kind of struggling with, the product we put on the shelves.
Oh my gosh.
So they were out of product. They were struggling. So they stole the Lego so they'd have something to sell. Oh my God.
Really gotta find out, was there a U-Haul that night or not? Because everybody's disagreeing about it. This Eugene, Oregon guy says, oh yeah, a U-Haul showed up with Star Wars sets in it. Brandon was talking about the Salem store. You've got Matt McNeff saying there was no U-Haul there. It was a rental car. You've got Crystal saying, yeah, I thought it was really weird. There was a U-Haul truck there. So I told the McNeffs, I really gotta find out what.
Well, now we got multiple people saying it from different locations that seemingly have nothing to do with each other. Maybe they do know each other. I don't know.
What the truth is here.
If you know anything about it, let me know, because that's just something I heard.
I do, and it has nothing to do with the Salem store. Well, at least not the Salem store in the way that it is there. Brandon showed up to the Salem store in a rental car. When he came to get the keys from Crystal, he was there in a rental car, not in a U-Haul.
So when there was the handoff, there wasn't a U-Haul, it was a rental car.
Correct. He was there in a rental car.
How does he know? Were you there, sir? Or are you just covering for him?
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think any of the, like, if you were to look at the footage, the ring cameras, all that stuff, you won't see a U-Haul sitting anywhere in the parking lot.
So after hearing all of this, I realized, look, I just gotta find the evidence. So I
Go ask U-Haul. Go ask U-Haul.
start sifting through these photos I have, right? I realize I have a parking lot photo. I check it. no U-Haul, just a red truck out there. I check another photo where you could see the window, but the problem is it's night outside, so you can't see. And so I'm looking at everything I can, and there's just nothing, you know? And I have this alternate angle, I'm looking at that, and then
boom! Oh, he's fucking lying! Everything's a lie! They stole the Legos. They stole the fucking Legos. No fucking shot. He straight up lied. You lie about one thing, I'm not gonna believe you about everything, but they've been lying about multiple things. This is crazy, man.
Wait a minute. Zoom in on that photo. Bring up the brightness of this photo a little bit, and my gosh, there's a U-Haul in the parking lot right outside of the store the night of November 14th.
There was no U-Haul, I promise you that.
2024. This is something that Matt said he had seen footage of, and it couldn't be true.
And again, I believe I have seen footage from that night that shows clearly out into the parking lot, and there's no U-Haul.
After seeing this, I said, I really have to make a call. And that's when the story changed.
So last night, I talked with Matt McNeff. I brought up this question of the U-Haul. He told me emphatically there was no U-Haul. Y'all came to me this morning. You said, hey, we looked into it. There actually was a U-Haul there that night. Can you clear up what that's about?
Yeah, they lied. He lied! He was hoping that it wouldn't show up in the footage. Looked through it, didn't find it, looked through it again, found it. Oh shit, there's a U-Haul. I actually didn't know.
So there's actually two different things that are going on here, just to help you understand. And I don't know if you want this particularly not on the record, but we do know of a disgruntled former employee that worked at another location.
That's the Eugene guy, right?
That back on the 24th of October, there was a U-Haul that went to a storage unit in Salem for another previous franchisee, like for a different situation that we had just gone through some things, and he had a previously, like, hey, I have some inventory that I didn't turn over that I was supposed to. It's at this storage location. You guys can come pick it up. And so Brandon was sent on that day to pick up with a U-Haul inventory.
Oh, so now there was a U-Haul. The story has changed and there's a U-Haul now.
That then he moved down, but that was October 24th.
So when we're talking about this ex-employee, you're saying they are conflating the October 24th event of the U-Haul coming up to Eugene with Legos with sometime after November 14th, after the store takeover. Is that correct? Am I understanding that?
Yes.
So this is now kind of a strange story. Corporate is saying there was a U-Haul at the Eugene store dropping off Lego, but that was from a different night, different collection. The CEO says Brandon showed up to Salem on October 24th for his secret shopper job with Crystal, and separately, he also was getting a different collection of Legos that also included Star Wars, and that's what he brought to the Eugene store, and the former employee is remembering. Then, weeks later, on November 14th,
it's all just too perfect, isn't it?
Brandon supposedly shows up again with a U-Haul, but the reason isn't for hauling Legos.
Brandon flew in to Eugene that night. At midnight. So flew from Utah on the 13th, but landed in Oregon on midnight of the 14th. Went and got a rental truck, and then went and stayed at a trailer that had previously been moved up there in anticipation, meaning a camper trailer.
Who fucking cares? What is this weird story you're telling? It just more bullshit. It just further makes me think you're lying because you're trying to pack the story.
In anticipation of the potential hostile takeover previously.
Is that why he had a U-Haul? Is that the reason he had a U-Haul, was for this camper, or what's going on with the?
Yes. So then what happens is he takes his rental vehicle truck and he tries to connect the trailer, the camping trailer, to that truck, and it's not rated for that particular weight, and he realized, oh crap.
Why isn't he saying this? Why are we hearing it from you, and why did we hear a different story from the other guy?
He called around and found that U-Haul had a rating for one of their box trucks, and so he grabbed that, went and got it at 10 a.m. on the 14th, and so he then went and hooked that trailer up to the camping trailer to a U-Haul, drove that trailer down to another location where he could set up the camping trailer in Salem, dropped off the camper trailer, and then he arrived in a U-Haul to the Salem store, and then went in, said hi to Crystal, and then as she was leaving, the door shuts, and so he locks it, calls the locksmith, takes him a while to finish up the changing of the locks. Brandon at this point is pretty exhausted, so and he
Man, I'm pretty fucking exhausted of this story that you're telling.
has an hour drive back to Eugene to drop off the rental truck. So he drops it off at, midnight or 1 o'clock, something like that, grabs the rental truck, and then heads back up to the camper trailer in Salem. And then, probably gets in at around 2 or 3 in the morning, spends a couple of, that's a little bit of sleep before he has to head back to the store at 9 a.m. before the other employees get there. The timeline that is trying to be portrayed just makes absolutely zero sense.
Okay, so I asked, obviously, for documentation of all of this from Brandon. And
Yeah, they don't got any. They're just making it up as they go. They probably have a somewhat of a story that they're sticking with, but they're filling in the gaps. And they're probably not talking to each other about it.
And here's what I got. First, the U-Haul contract on November 14th. This checks out what we already know. Then I got sent a photo, the last one Brandon took in the Salem store, dated 9:44 p.m., where you can see what looks like the inside of a bird cage that the Gormans had. And lastly, I was sent a photo Brandon took of the mileage in the U-Haul as he dropped it back off at the rental place on November 15th, 12:41 a.m. Now, the time gap there is about 3 hours between the last photo in Salem to dropping the U-Haul off, which is a bit of a problem for our timeline.
Yeah, it took like 4 hours. I worked till like 11 o'clock, and I'm like, I gotta get up early for, my other job.
You moved 4 hours of Legos out of this truck.
Yeah.
All right, so as weird as this U-Haul thing is, the timeline just doesn't fit, to be honest. If it took 4 hours to unload, you can't also drive to another city, load and unload and drop off the U-Haul in that time. But still, even if this is true, it's pretty weird, and it's one of the most bizarre stories I've ever heard, to have a U-Haul thing back to back. One of the times you're picking up Legos, the other time you're not, you're taking a camper. Nevertheless, without more proof, we kind of have to move on to another theory of how to find these missing Lego. This time, let's take the photographs that we have and reconstruct what was in the night on November 14th. Remember, that's the moment we lost the Lego. And this time, we're going to combine it with 2 more things. First, from corporate, I got the point of sale records from the Salem store from 2023 to 2024. And secondly, from Crystal Gorman, I got her internal records of Brian's inventory of what was sold or not in order to pay him and keep track of prices. Now, before we piece things together, I need to address something. At the beginning of this story, you saw the social post saying this collection was worth $200,000. That's what everyone knows this story as, the $200,000 Lego collection. But sadly, that post was entirely wrong. In Crystal Gorman's inventory, which has a high and low estimate.
Is it bigger? It's much bigger, isn't it?
Value of these various Lego items, the real estimated value is about $107,000.
Oh, okay.
They give high estimates and low estimates, but that's right there in the middle. And for simplicity, I'll just be using averages and estimates here, but understand that, these numbers are not firm, given that they're...
No, it's 200,000. Actually, it's more than that to me. I don't give a fuck what it says on the paper anymore. This is the $200,000 Lego story that is worth fucking $400 million. Fuck this company.
Unsold Legos. It's just rough possibilities. But the point is, it's worth nowhere near $200,000.
Oh, it definitely is. I don't really even give a shit anymore what the actual worth of the Legos themselves are. I just give a shit of what this story is worth to me.
And Reckless Ben, the one who made the original video covering this, said that surprised him.
Yeah, this entire time, literally every single person's been telling me there were $200,000. Like, that's how much, you could sell all these sets for.
My original assessment of about $200,000 was going up to his father's house and looking in 3 different rooms with all the sets. It was before I'd actually gone through and had set numbers and done an actual evaluation. I looked at it and went based on as things progressed and as I started to delve more into the actual inventory and evaluating it, that number changed. But we put out the press release
$100,000, $200,000, that shit is all the same to me.
Well in advance of the event itself, so that press release went out before I had those full numbers. So we went, this is a nice even number that will grab attention and bring people into the store, so we went with that.
And still, I mean, to believe that is accurate at the high end. Like, it was one of those things where when she was looking through and going, well, it says this and it says this, like, you don't think even at the high end?
You haven't actually seen the spreadsheet.
Dude, this whole company is just so fucking gross and manipulative, man.
No, I haven't.
You might want to cut that part out because he hasn't actually seen the inventory sheet.
The spreadsheet says about from between 85,000 to 120 something thousand. In the midpoint about 107 or something like that of what was inventory. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this has been a really big point of misinformation to clear up, because if we're ever going to find the missing Lego, we need to start with the right number, the right value. It's about $107,000. Now, between 2023 and 2024, the Gormans record sales of about $24,000 of Brian's collection in their inventory tracking list. And of those sales, Brian was entitled to about 65 to 70% of it. He was paid $17,000, which roughly tracks with that. Which means on November 14th, the big night, the remaining amount of Brian's collection that should have been in there is about $82,000. Now, it doesn't take a genius to realize this is a very different number than corporate provided, who found only $2,000 to $5,000 of it linked to Brian. And later they said they only found $13,000 to $15,000 in total Lego Star Wars.
So you're talking maybe $11,000 to $15,000 total Star Wars, and that's all Star Wars inventory in the whole store.
But wait. But you paid him $17,000, which I didn't know until now that he got paid at all. What the fuck? Why was this never brought up to me?
So that's corporate side of the story, but I didn't want to take their word for it. So I went through Crystal's photos myself, which she shared with me, and hired people to go through and hand tag the Star Wars Legos that were in these photos. We looked through over 200 plus photos, multiple videos, and matched what we saw with Brian's collection. In the end, I ended up with about $21,000 of Legos, matching Brian's collection that can be proven to be in the store on the night of November 14th. Now, to state the obvious, that's about 3 to 5 times what corporate estimated, at least on their press release. Now, yes, there are inherent errors in these estimates. Maybe we picked up.
There shouldn't be that many errors from this corporation. Everywhere you look, everywhere you turn, error.
Some Lego that matched Brian's collection, but wasn't Brian's. But even though this is a bigger number than corporate said, I have to admit, even with pretty generous assumptions being made, there's still a huge gap of about $61,000 here that I just couldn't find. But then I learned Brian had made a special side deal with M&R Productions, who had recently purchased some Legos from him.
I haven't heard this one. Dude, Coffeezilla does such good work. Holy shit, man.
And this is where it starts to get messy. So these are the pictures that M&R Productions sent me, looking at the Lego that Brian sold him. This was stuff reportedly in storage, and it's interesting because of an early inventory list, which had a column called location that Crystal used. And it listed a lot of the Star Wars items as being located in what they called storage. Now, previously, I was told that all of the stuff in storage was put back in the store, but there's a bunch that's on this list that I can't find in the store that seem to appear in these pictures. Now, I've been assured, by the way, that most of these Legos were not part of the inventory spreadsheet. They were never given to Bricks and Minifigs. This is a separate part of the collection, but I did a check, and 100% of the items that match the Brian collection inventory just so happen to be listed with a location of storage. So this starts to make things incredibly fuzzy, and I'm inclined to believe that a lot of these are part of that same inventory list. Now, if we take that value of the side deal, that's about $10,000
They stole the Legos.
That's not actually missing. Now, it was at this point I started looking more at the point of sales records. I realized maybe we could find some of this missing Lego there too. So this is from the Salem internal store records. Like, I guess this is what is entered when someone does a sale, and it's everything from September 2023 to November 2024 of Star Wars anything. And by the way, before we continue, yes, this was all a lot of work. If you want to, please support us on Patreon. That's how this show gets made. But anyways, according to those records, about $51,000 in sales went through during this time period in a way that matched Brian Mansell's collection. Now, that really worried me because Crystal's inventory list showed only $24,000 in sales for Brian, and Brian was only paid for that amount. But suddenly, I remembered back to a time when I spoke to Crystal, and I asked how much was sold prior to the takeover.
Which is something similar from what you told me, Crystal.
Yeah.
You told me, hey, it was about 50-something thousand.
Yeah.
But Brian was only paid 17,000.
Okay.
And it should have been about double that. And I'm just trying to make sense of that, given that everyone's accusing each other of theft right now. You understand?
I mean, without seeing any of those records, without seeing those individual tickets, I can't answer that any better.
Okay, this is kind of a problem. The math ain't mathin' here. 65 to...
The math ain't mathin' and nobody knows what went wrong. This is the fault of the corporation. Even if that chick was doing some shady shit, this is the fault of the corporation for not having a system in place that would actually keep track of all of this shit.
70% of 50,000 is almost double what we...
It's almost like it's like this on purpose, so that they could just steal people's shit and blame it on other people, and then the trail is so messy that they can't even do anything about it. It would be worth more for somebody to just leave it alone and have their Legos stolen.
We believe Brian was paid. And digging into the details, it turns out a lot of these sales come from what Crystal's spreadsheet actually categorizes as layaways, meaning they were marked as having been sold, but layaways are when someone puts a down payment on an item and later pays it off. But the problem was there were a lot of these, worth about $20,000 in layaway, and that felt a little strange to me. And because of that, I asked Josh Johnson, the incoming owner, and he responded, quote, "They're worth 2 to 3 items on layaway when they took over."
Another
so
lie.
On the list of that, on the inventory list, do you know about how many layaways?
I haven't gone through and done a count, but I know it was vastly more than 2 to 3.
It was about 98.
That makes sense.
So there were about 15,000 to
98 compared to 2 or 3. Another lie!
$25,000 worth of sets on layaway.
Okay.
I feel like my brain is melting.
That's just the part that's surprising.
Dude, I fucking hate liars, man. They just make the world so messy.
That's the part that I can't get my head around. I go, how could, let me just be really honest. I don't believe there was that much layaway. I don't know. I don't know how that's possible. How could there be that much layaway? I don't know.
Mismanagement. That's how there's that much. Actually, the numbers are wrong. There wasn't that much. They just don't know how to fucking manage a corporation. They're a bunch of retards.
It's like, I don't believe, because I was talking to some people about Bricks and Minifigs. They go, yeah, there's some layaway. There's not that much layaway. I talked to people who were neutral, kind of.
I think they're stupid and they're not paying much attention and they're living lavish lives. I've seen it happen so often. That vape shop that I was talking about, the vape shops, it was like that. They were like buying trucks, going on vacations and sleeping with women. Meanwhile, a bunch of crazy shit happening at the store. Things going missing, break-ins, and employees stealing inventory, and then they just fudged the numbers. That's all they did. They've just fudged the numbers. They were, selling juice under the table, this vape additive stuff they were selling to children to get them high, making so much money, bought a mansion, the guy who was running that shop did. Fucking crazy. That's what this is. It's the same thing.
On corporate side, but also people who are just normal Bricks and Minifigs people. They say there's not that much layaway. Help me understand why there's $20,000 worth of layaway here.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely. If you talk to other Bricks and Minifigs locations, layaway is extremely rare. I think outside of the Brian's collection, I don't.
Okay, good. I'm not crazy here. So then, why was there so much layaway there?
No, absolutely not. Outside of Brian's collection, I think at the time we maybe had 2 used sets on layaway outside of his collection.
Okay.
It was not a common thing traditionally. I don't know that we'd ever done layaway before the collection came in. With Brian's collection, it was a little bit different because so much of this collection were new in box, all in one place, reasonably priced, and a lot of the harder to find items. And so customers would come in and put, I'm gonna guess probably half of those layaway items were not gonna be sold to the person who took them on layaway, because we had several that would put them on layaway and then change their mind. So this
free money, I guess. I mean, the products aren't getting sold because they're not on the shelves, but you're not selling a product at that point and you're making money.
was something like, somebody would come in and want 10 different sets but only be able to buy 1. Can I put the rest of those on layaway so you don't sell them? I'll pay $10 to put these sets on layaway. Traditionally with layaway, we would ask for 10% down. They'd have 30 days to make their next payment, or we'd refund the layaway amount and then put it back on the shelf.
Refund it. Okay, you refund it? I bet it got refunded.
Because this collection was the collection it was, and I wanted to give these people the opportunity to, dogs, to get
They do
these
got a lot
sets.
of dogs. I like me some dogs. They got some pretty dogs.
We were a lot more generous with how long and the amount of payments that people could make towards the layaway. So a lot of these, we had several of them. I think one of the Ewok villages, we put on layaway 4 different times, and then it came off of layaway and back on layaway and then off and then sold. So a lot of these would have gone on and off of layaway and then back out on the shelf, just depending on the person who was putting it on layaway.
I know a little bit about layaway too, because there's a company in my town that does layaway as their business. That is their business, basically, is layaway. You like buy things on payments. Sometimes you don't get it until you finish the payment. Sometimes you're renting it to own it, like couches and TVs and stuff, game consoles, computers. And I've used them a lot, so I kind of know how this works, but I don't know how they have it set up. I just know a little bit. So let's see.
That was completely unique to this collection.
So look, I'll be honest, I don't trust Josh Johnson, but something is weird here.
So a lot of these are, look at this. It says POS final sale price, but it's listed as a layaway, but it's sold for $5.99.
I'm starting to think that they don't know what they're doing and they're covering that up. They're covering up the fact that they fucked up. Hopefully that's what's going on and they didn't just straight up sell them, or they didn't steal them, I mean. But it seems like they fucked up and they're trying to cover their asses to not make it look like they fucked up, because they're morons.
Yeah.
Because it matches with the store sale price.
Okay.
So were they on layaway? Were they accidentally marked layaway on the spreadsheet? What's going on there?
I mean, without seeing the actual sales ticket and seeing what else, what items were sold together, what else was sold with it, I can't actually see the sales ticket. We had several layaway items in which customers were putting multiple things on layaway, paying for most of one item, and then, or they were buying, 8 different things together and then putting all of them on layaway and making payments on multiple items at the same time. Our Ewok village was one of those cases. At some point he had, I think, 8 or 9 different items on layaway. So they'd come in and make a payment for a bulk payment. I've got 800 things on layaway. I'm going to make $100 on my payment. One customer in particular would do that, and then when he'd gotten up high enough to pay for one set, we'd pull that set out, mark it as sold. So without seeing the actual tickets and my layaway records, I cannot answer a question any clearer than that.
But I even found more than that in this POS data. I also found about $10,000 in sales that match Brian's collection that were not marked as sold under this inventory spreadsheet.
Some of our things that were not found were explained by the POS system because they were found in the POS system as being sold. So like they weren't marked on the spreadsheet, but they were marked as sold via the POS system. And this is about
piece of shit system?
$10,000 worth of Lego that basically were matched.
Huh. See, and I don't know. Take anything happening from, let's see, sorry, I'm trying to do math here. I don't know without being able to see all of the records. There is a possibility that the consignments were ended when I wasn't at work and I just didn't go through and pull them up. They didn't get put in the consignment ticket. I hadn't gone through those consignments in a couple of months. I hadn't gone through the inventory in the back room in a couple of months. So it is entirely possible there were sales that were finished that I never clocked as being finished. I don't know that without going through an actual.
So they were sold and they didn't keep track of them. That's what I said the very first time. I think it was the first time, maybe the second time. I said it in the first video that they were selling them and not keeping track.
Actually seeing it.
Because the bureaucracy is just, they don't know how to control it. They're a bunch of dumbasses.
But you're saying it's possible stuff was sold, not updated on this inventory list.
It's entirely possible that stuff did not get updated on my spreadsheet. I'm not going to sit here and claim it's not possible. It's possible I missed things.
So where does this leave us? I know some people are...
It leaves me with thinking that they're all just fucking incompetent. Hopefully. I'm still not ruling out that they just straight up stole all this shit, which is what I'm leaning more toward. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they just fucked up. And still, everything that I've seen so far, I want their company to crumble. I want these people to suffer for a long time. Maybe not in jail. Maybe. Unless they did steal the Legos and keep the money. But they don't deserve their corporation anymore.
Jump into conclusions here, but I must remind you that on the night of November 14th, 2024, Crystal Gorman was concerned about Brian getting paid or not getting paid.
He has not been paid his percentage yet. And if I don't have the tickets, I won't know how much I need to pay him.
Right here. Right here is where it all went wrong. It's this moment when this dude took over and kicked her the fuck out. This is where everything went sideways. Because now they don't know anything. She was the one. She was the one who knew the things. And they locked her out. Why did they do that even? Why not, like, try and keep in touch with her? What happened here? Why was she even leaving? I don't even know this situation.
Okay. So Crystal, ultimately, also, that's a business thing and not necessarily yours. Brandon will take, just taking on the business, he takes on all that consignment.
So obviously, one could see that and say she was intending to reconcile with Brian. Maybe she hadn't gotten around to it. And of course, corporate will probably take a more cynical view of what she's doing by printing these receipts. But the point is, regardless of whose side you're on, I think we can all agree there's a lot of weird stuff here on all sides. Abnormal stuff. Sure, maybe you can chalk some of this up to bad record keeping between the U-Haul, the layaways, the 20,000.
I think it's just a bad business. Like, I know how a lot of these smaller businesses run, and they don't run how they're supposed to. They pretend they do, but then when it comes down to it, when you start looking into it, there's just shit all fucked up everywhere. Because they don't actually know what they're doing. They're winging it, basically. They're just living their lives, not caring. Something fucks up, oh well, let's change something. Let's hope that nobody finds out, even if we break a law.
$1,000 in Lego sets that corporate called $2,000 to $5,000 that was there that night, the off-book deals. But even if we can't like fully know 100%, you know, what these weird things were about, I think they tell a story of what actually happened to Brian's collection. In a way, multiple people, I think, are kind of right, kind of wrong. The Gormans were correct that more of that collection was there that night of the takeover than previously thought.
I don't care what happened. I just know that Brian did not get paid what he was supposed to get paid, and they're pretending that they never had the Legos in the first place. Remember that?
But corporate also alleged that some of it was offsite, and that appears to be partly true, although some of that is disputed, and it looks like, you know, way more of the collection was sold and layawayed than Brian was paid for. But all in all, there's a lot less missing than many people think, especially if your starting number is $200,000. I estimated, and I must emphasize, estimated with bad records, that there's only about $10,000 to $20,000 in Lego that isn't explained by one of these sources. This isn't to say Brian's been fully compensated. Much of this Brian wasn't paid for that I know of. So I estimate he's still out about $50,000 to $83,000.
That's so much money. I can't even fathom that amount of money. Holy shit, that's so much. That might as well be $1 million to me. I don't think I'll ever see that. It's fucking crazy. A life-changing amount of money. Multiple lives could be changed with that amount of money.
For Lego he wasn't compensated for. And I think honestly that's something that Bricks and Minifigs obviously should handle and make right. Regardless of what a franchisee does, the new one, the old one, the company behind it must stand behind their product, their service, and I can't imagine a better example of a company doing the opposite. Unfortunately, Bricks and Minifigs has chosen to deflect and dodge responsibility at most opportunities and created a really awful customer experience that has snowballed into this
nobody's going to
crazy
use them
series
anymore
of events.
except people who
But
just don't
instead
know.
of taking accountability for that, they've taken an aggressive legal strategy, which I told them personally was a horrible idea. As of writing this, Brian Mansell is being sued for $1.3 million as part of a legal campaign against him and Reckless Ben and any of the associates. Remember, Brian is the same guy who lost all these Legos at Bricks and Minifigs store. And I told the CEO and COO that's ridiculous and they should drop this. Look, mistakes have been made by plenty of people here, but there's a lot more people who have inflicted
That guy is evil as fuck. This dude right here, he is the worst one out of all of them, and he does deserve jail time, and so does every cop that was working with him.
owns, the likes of which we've rarely seen.
This guy's just stupid.
By just choosing the worst possible path at every fork in the road. No pun intended. But the best path to making things right, in my view...
Those police officers need to be investigated. Most of them need to be fired. That police department needs to be fucking gutted, and probably multiple. The LAPD definitely does, because they got involved too.
Is by just making Brian whole and moving on. Drop the...
It's too late. We can't move on from this now. Too many people were implicated. This is too weird a story. Somebody's gonna be looking into it. Even, like, push the Legos aside, the police department shit. That shit's getting looked into. That's probably the craziest thing that got exposed out of this whole story.
Aggressive legal strategy. You are a Lego store at the end of the day. You are supposed to be about fun, not about a rerun of Suits. But anyways, that's my investigation. Those are my closing thoughts. And I knew I wanted to approach everyone involved in this whole story with my results and see what they thought to close things out.
Does all that make sense to you? Because I'm showing everyone in this story and saying, hey,
the thing
are
that
any of
doesn't
these
make
numbers blowing your mind, or is any of this crazy to you?
No, it's not crazy. But what's crazy, again, like, all the photo evidence that both sides have points to there being, sure, $20,000 worth of Lego in this of Star Wars Lego in the store that night, right? I don't know, man. I'm just like, can people understand maybe why there was some confusion and why there was some hesitation when somebody comes in and says, hey, you owe me $60,000 worth of product in Lego, and we go, we don't even know who you are. Like, yeah, Crystal mentioned something about consignment on her way out the door. And we go, sure, we'll get that figured out. But then the guy just walks in and demands $60,000 worth of Lego? Like, what am I supposed to do other than say, cool, show me...
What are we supposed to do? Well, the exact opposite of what you did the entire time, every fucking turn. You moron. You deserve this.
Can you show me the proof?
The problem is there's so much of a dispute on the timeline, and this is what's going to make this story so hard to tell. Is like, they say, you guys are unreasonable. They tried, and eventually they gave up. But they say they tried, and they were basically met with, like, unreasonable requests, things like that. So
verification, documentation, is that unreasonable, do you think?
Well, I think they would say they provided the documentation, and you guys say you need more documentation. So, I mean, that's the kind of...
Where's the documentation? I don't see the documentation. Bro, they were trying to give it to you in good faith the whole fucking time. And you called the cops. Immediately called the cops.
That's kind of the...
Right, a spread, like, I understand, a spreadsheet and a contract are a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we never got that. That was never sent to us at corporate, by the way.
Y'all don't have the... Y'all do have the spreadsheet, though, yeah? Y'all have the spreadsheet.
That was shared online, but months after we asked for it.
It says it's... I'm so confused. It says... I'm on the file right now. It says, storage used, owned by BAM Franchising Inc., owner Salem.or bricksandminifigs.com.
What are you looking at?
It says owner Salem.or at bricksandminifigs.com. That's you guys. It says owned by BAM Franchising Inc. It says created September 6, 2024. And when I look at it, this is the Mansell list, I believe.
So this would have been created under so we have the
But y'all definitely have this. Y'all have access to this.
Well, I had no idea. Like, so if this is the first that anybody has shown me that.
I have no idea. I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Then why did you go so hard? You knew, you fucking lying piece of shit. Now he got caught and he's trying to save face in front of Coffeezilla. Does he know who Coffeezilla is? Because no shot. Coffeezilla's not gonna just call him out on all of his bullshit. And you can't just not go against... you can't go against Coffeezilla because it'll be worse for you.
That a spreadsheet was...
You think Reckless Ben's a problem? Coffeezilla knows what he's doing. And he's got people who help him.
Created using, like, Bricks and Minifigs, Salem, and all of this stuff was archived. This is the first I've seen that this spreadsheet was created by Crystal. And we don't know how accurate it is, how up to date it was. We don't know a lot of those types of things. And understand, I appreciate you sharing this with us because we had no idea. Again, you don't know what you don't know. And
you didn't look into it. You just said no the whole time and called the cops and denied and lied.
You can't, like, we don't know everything. And we don't go, looking in every nook and cranny everywhere,
We don't know everything. We can't see everything.
We just don't know some of those things. So if that's there, we can now have our team go look for that.
When it comes right down to it, they're going to have to make a judgment call and say, who's telling the truth? The people who were taking all the pictures and say, and we couldn't take pictures of everything the night of, but we're being honest consistently, and the people who are saying, there was $5,000 there. Really? Like, that makes no sense. We've got the evidence, and yes, there's a discrepancy. We acknowledge we did not take pictures of everything, but does that mean that the discrepancy is, oh, and therefore these missing, percentage, whatever that would be?
Oh, whoopsie doopsie. You accidentally lost all the Legos. No harm done here. You didn't pay Reckless Ben. You didn't pay Brian for what he's owed. Well, you made a mistake, so we're just gonna look past it. Oopsie poopsie. That's not gonna happen. This is gonna be real messy, and it's probably gonna take a long time, and it's gonna cost a lot of money.
5% is some magical other place, or it was sitting there in the store, and we didn't get pictures of it.
If I messed up,
explanation.
If I messed up on my record keeping, I will take accountability for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible. If my staff didn't draw attention that consignments had left out, so I'd move them to the thing.
There is a definite difference between her attitude and Bricks and Minifigs' attitude. She seems very honest and like she's willing to take accountability. And she's given actually good information, and it doesn't seem like she's trying to lie and cover up and get upset. And then later be like, oh, well, we didn't know. We didn't know. We can't speak on things that we haven't seen before.
Any of that, I will take accountability to that. I am more than willing to do that. I need BAM to show me those tickets.
As they promised to do.
I will sit down with Brian and talk this over and figure out what we missed and where it was missed and how it was missed and make that right with him.
That's new information no one's ever found out, so that's like awesome. They're going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars because of their own wrongdoing. They're literally going to destroy their entire company because they're this stubborn over maybe $20,000 worth of Lego.
Sure, I'll be keeping you in the loop with what you know.
Nice. I'm excited. This was good work. My other final thoughts is, dude, you solved it, dude. That's awesome.
Oh. Bricks and Minifigs suing Brian Mansell over $1 million. Why? You fired the guys that were involved in all this and are suing Reckless Ben and Brian. Are you stupid? $20,000. Gormans are suing Bricks and Minifigs. The lawsuit claims that Brian's collection had an original aggregate value of around $250,000. Oh, God! The numbers keep changing! Not for me, though. $400 million, take it or leave it.